So let's say you or a loved one goes to your doctor's appointment and finds out your blood pressure is getting a little bit high. And so you want to try to find a blood pressure monitor for around the house. And you go on Amazon to try to find one, and you're confronted with this decision that we all see quite frequently in our lives, where we have several different options. And notice the cost itself are fairly similar, so we're left wondering, which of these blood pressure monitors would do the best job, and how can I use the data that's given to me here? Well, luckily we have all these star ratings of previous consumers or people who have purchased the product, hopefully purchased the product. But what do we do to make sense of it? Well, first of all, we notice that it's an ordinal level scale. In other words, someone who would rate a product as 2 stars would like it more than if they would rate it 1 star. If they rate it 4 stars, that would be more than 3 stars. But what we can't really say is that the distance that it takes to go from 1 to 2 stars is the same as the difference between 4 and 5 stars. And that's a point that the book makes fairly clear. So the nice thing is, though, that Amazon does not just provide the average, they provide the distribution, so that we can see that of all the people, of all the 3,880 that reviewed it, we can see that 2/3 of them gave it a 5-star rating, and then so on down here. Incidentally, this distribution here is fairly common in Amazon. People will very rarely give a 2 or 3-star rating. It's typically between a 4 and 5 for if they like it, and then a 1 star if they've had a really bad experience that they feel compelled to tell us about. So we can look at these and notice that the average doesn't tell us everything. So 4.6 is helpful, and maybe we can on the surface think that that's better than say a 4.5. But when it comes down to it, because we're averaging these ordinal variables, we also want to pay close attention to what the distribution looks like. If it's all 5 and 4 stars, that's very different than a 5, all 5s and all 1s, for example, right? That would show that there's a love-hate relationship with this product versus people just thinking it's a pretty decent product, which is what this looks like here. And in fact, we can go even further by clicking on the reviews and maybe clicking on the 1-star reviews and finding out what people were criticizing here. Because if it's not something that we care about, then maybe something might be worthwhile, even if it does have a lot of 1s. So that's an advantage of some qualitative. One other thing that we need to pay attention to here is the little number beside the stars, which is telling us how many people are rating this. For example, these are getting between 4, 4.5, 4.6 stars. If we slide down here a bit, I believe there was one with right here. Well, this isn't even a blood pressure monitor, but we have a 5 stars with only 3 ratings. A 5 stars, it's great, but if you only have 3 people saying that, then it's really not much of a sample size. Similarly, this one with only 2 people rating it and 1 star doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad product, although there's really nothing much here that would give us confidence in that particular product. Here's the one I was looking for. So this one does have an average 5 out of 5, but with only 3 people rating this so far, and perhaps even connections to this product, this really isn't a trustworthy result. So in short, we need to take into account several different things, not just the average. We want to also look at the distribution. We want to look at the qualitative reason behind, especially the low rankings. And then we also want to look at the sample size. There is one more thing that does come into play. So notice here, this was a fairly high ranked one. This was 4.6. I think this was perhaps the highest one of that row. What happens though, sometimes people will pump these products full of fake recommendations in order to make them sell. There could be various reasons why they would do that. There are sites that analyze the reviews. So this is FakeSpot. I've cut and pasted the website of the review. I'm going to paste it right there and click on Analyze Reviews. What it does, it goes through these reviews. It uses machine learning to figure out how much deception is involved. It even gives us adjusted rating. In this case, the adjusted rating is pretty much the same as the original rating. C is not a great grade, and you can go and take a look at what might be authentic or not. But some of these products, when you put them in, will give you a much lower reviews because these are just machines writing these reviews. They're not really people reviewing the products. Let me try one more here. We pump this into the URL here. So this one actually got a really strong review in terms of the reviews that are written there appear to be authentic based on artificial intelligence. In short, the main point I wanted to make here was that Likert scales and these ratings, 1 to 5 star rating systems, they're very controversial how they should be treated statistically. So some purist statisticians like this one will say that because it's not interval level data, you should definitely not take an average. Then you'll get people like this who say, yeah, it's not technically correct to take an average of ordinal level data, but these rating systems are ordinal enough that the averages can still be useful, and I think they probably have the better point, especially when you do use the extra information like the distribution and the qualitative. If you put it all together, I think the averages do help tell part of the story here.